Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is kind of a surprise video. I had no clue that I was going to be filming this. I didn't have it scheduled until the product that I'm going to talk about today arrived at my doorstep. I had no clue that it was coming, and it is the BECCA Jaclyn Hill Champagne Glow Holiday Palette. So this is BECCA's holiday palette that they've done in slight collaboration with Jaclyn Hill because it does have the Champagne Pop highlighter that she created, along with a blush highlighter and a brand new shade called Pearl. So this launches today, October 27th on Sephora.com. It will be available in stores on the 30th. I'm sure there's probably a few Sephoras that have already put them out, but this is $34, I believe, and it comes with, like I said, 3 beautiful shades that are going to be supposedly universal for all skin tones. So let's go ahead and jump on into this palette. Like I said, I did not know that this was coming, so I've only been wearing this for today, which is the 26th. And I've tried all of the shades in here. I do already own Champagne Pop. I am a big Jaclyn Hill fan. I'm always a supporter of her products. And I was watching her Snapchat story recently, and she said that these will probably sell out really fast. I think she said BECCA only made 80,000, and she said that's what they sold in one day when Champagne Pop, the single highlighter, initially released. So if you have the slightest interest in this, I will have a link down below where you can find it. And if you missed out on Champagne Pop, this is your second opportunity to pick it up. It is included in this palette. It's a smaller version, but let's be real, BECCA highlighters last forever. So I just wanted to do a little mini review for you guys. I am currently wearing the blushed copper shade that comes in this palette. This is going to be considered a highlighter on some people with deeper skin tones and more of a blush on people with more fair skin tones. Of course, you're going to get the Champagne Pop highlighter in here that Jaclyn Hill has created. And then this is a new shimmering skin perfector in the shade Pearl, and I will do close-up swatches for you guys. A lot of people have already asked me on my Instagram if I think this palette is worth it if you already do own Champagne Pop. And just think of it this way, you're getting 2 more skin perfectors in here, and a regular size skin perfector is what, like $42? So if you know you already like BECCA's skin perfectors, I think it's worth the money. And if you already like Champagne Pop, then just go for it. I do want to talk about each shade individually. I love this blush copper color. I thought, okay, on me that's going to look crazy, but I just love the beautiful glow, and it's such a hard shade to describe. It's not quite rose gold, and it's not quite a bronzy color. It's somewhere in between there. It reminds me of just like a beautiful sunset on your cheeks. I don't know. I am a huge fan of it. I really thought that I wasn't going to be just by looking at how pigmented and dark it was, but I will give you guys a tip. Since the shades are so pigmented in this palette, I would suggest using a brush like the MAC 137. This is I literally just picked this brush up, you guys, and it was almost like this brush was made for this palette. This applies the smallest amount of product, and it really allows you to blend it into the skin so you don't get that streaky look with any of your blushes or any of your highlighters. So I would highly suggest using one of your brushes that picks up the least amount of product, especially if you do have a fair skin tone like I do. I actually mixed Champagne Pop and Pearl on my cheeks. So that's what I do have on as my main highlighter. I was a fan of Champagne Pop when it released, and I actually used it on my mom today. She came over, I put a little bit on her, and it looked so pretty on her. I initially just put on the Pearl shade because I was thinking, okay, I have Champagne Pop, I know what that looks like. But after I put it on her and I saw how pretty it looked, I was like, you know what, I'm going to throw a little bit of this on top of my Pearl, and we're going to call it a day. So yeah, I have been a fan of Champagne Pop ever since it released, so there's not much I can say about it except that it's such a pretty universal kind of golden peach color. I think Pearl is such an excellent color for those of you who have really fair skin. If you're like, I'm thinking off the top of my head, one of my best friends, Emily, she is like an NC15 in MAC, a Bare Minerals Fair. I mean, she wears the lightest foundation in every brand, and this shade right here, I can just already see is going to be phenomenal on really fair skin. It's even lighter than BECCA's Moonstone, which to my knowledge is their lightest, you know, permanent highlighter. So I mean, I think it looks pretty on me. I mean, my skin isn't the fairest, but I thought, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, for those of you who have, you know, such gorgeous like porcelain skin, this is really going to make your cheeks stand out. So let's go ahead and break this down. Do you need the Champagne Glow palette by BECCA? I'm not going to tell anyone that they need something like this, but I'll give you guys some, you know, pros of having this palette if you are the least bit interested. Obviously the price, I mean, $34 for 3 of these, that's really good with BECCA. I mean, as most of you guys know, BECCA's prices aren't really the cheapest, and to get 3 of their, you know, most, well, not most famous, because these are newer shades, but the formula, the Skin Perfector, that is BECCA's, you know, most famous product. To get 3 of these for, you know, that amount, I think that is a phenomenal deal. On top of that, I do think that all of the shades in here are pretty universal. Like I said, on some deeper skin tones, this may just strictly be a highlighting palette. For those medium skin tones, you're going to get to, you know, use this to its full potential. And for lighter skin tones, just go a little bit light-handed. Use something like the brush I suggested with the blushed copper, and I still think it will be a gorgeous look. I saw Nikki Tutorials wearing the blushed copper recently, and you know, if you've ever watched her videos, you know she has really fair skin, and it looked amazing on her. So all in all, I do think that BECCA did a phenomenal job of formulating the colors in this palette. I do think that they're going to appeal to most people, and they're such gorgeous shades, they're going to look different on everyone. So all in all, if you can get your hands on this palette, I do think it will be a beautiful addition to anyone's collection. If you miss out on it, don't think it's the end of the world. Obviously, Champagne Pop is still available. And I do believe that Pearl and Blushed Copper are going to be available for individual purchase if they aren't already. I haven't really looked into that. But yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world if you don't get the specific palette. I kind of feel like they may end up making more. And maybe they're just saying that they didn't make a lot, so people kind of like freak out. I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, it's a cute little palette, definitely beautiful shades. I am a fan of it, and if you guys have any questions for me or want more information, I did also do a full blog post on this where you can see close-up photos and swatches there. But if you have any other questions for me, just feel free to leave them down below, and yeah, I will get back to you guys as soon as I can, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.